Gravity, are they going to play it slow? Are they going to ramp? Are they going to play defensive? Because how they approach this laning stage, if they can somehow get past the aggression that's going to come their way, their mid to late game should be really good because they have the advantage when it comes to crowd control.
Yeah, I totally agree on this. Now, we'll see how this will transpire, Danny, because the game has begun, and of course the laning phase has been revealed over here. So meanwhile here, we're looking at the bottom lane, constant pressures coming up from both sides as well, running the EV together with the Slowpoke here, which means that we'll be having to do duo here in the Wild Pokemon era in the middle segment. Meanwhile, at the top lane, we will be having this Clefairy together with this Buzzwole going up against the Hooper as well as the Squirtle. In a few short moments, we might be seeing this rotation coming up from Dragonite together with the Dodrio into respective lanes at the top lane to put a little bit of pressure and see if they're going to be clearing that the first Altera family bring here in this map.
Yeah, trying to guarantee this in that top lane, it seems. So Dragonair sitting in the bush, but looks like Dodrio is going to be flushing him out, spotting him out as well. So both teams are aware that both central laners are in that top lane. Let's see who's going to get it. We won't see that top lane, unfortunately. We will see this bottom lane instead, and it should be going in favor of True Gravity. Inteleon usually having the advantage when it comes to the last hit secure as well. And actually pushing out that Glaceon. Unfortunately, the Rock Tomb does not connect, but on the other side, we're seeing quite a lot of pressure being applied by Team True Gravity, pushing eArena back and actually catching Dodrio and the Clefairy.
Oh, that's going to be a big win from Team True Gravity, especially when you're only a Dragonair, you're able to actually punish that Dodrio up to this certain level as well. So basically they have the opportunity to do a little bit of scoring on the enemy's goalpost from eArena side, on the top side. And they're just going to snowball a little bit from here. You're looking at quadruple, or should I say, one of them at level 7 Dragonair at the current moment. You have level 6, triple level 6 Pokemons as well as level 5 on the Hooper. Meanwhile, only one level 6 coming on from the side of eArena, which is going to be that Dodrio over there. Meanwhile, the top lane, it seems that there's going to be a little bit of smackdown action here. The duo Dodrio together with a Buzzwole hanging up on that Wartortle, slowly possessed a little bit. Meanwhile, Hooper doing a little bit of poking here, and of course provide a little bit of assistance together with Intel on the back line, providing a little bit of sniping action upon the team members of eArena. But they're going to be managed to juke out some of those snipes coming on from him.
Man, this top lane, they really want to try to shut down that Blastoise, and they're actually managing to catch out the Hooper. Does manage to jump on out, instead going for an aggressive jump, so Buzzwole's going to have to back up, but they do get the KO eventually onto that Hooper. Very big commitment. Buzzwole coming back into the fray, taking a little bit of damage there. Mark God, got to be careful of that position. But with the Glaceon here, this does scare Team True Gravity back. With all this firepower, things can definitely go in favor of eArena if they don't take care of how they fight. And they actually managed to pull back that Dragonite. He will go back to safety, and Mark God dropping a little bit too low, almost getting caught. He will be eliminated by that Hooper, and now we get the full evolution for that Blastoise.
Yeah, and of course, all of this continues as we do see the team members from Team True Gravity trying to take down this Reggie. Like, I believe that there will be no commitments coming up from the side of eArena as they're trying to shift their focus towards the Reggie happening off at the bottom lane. But even with that, also, there's not much going on there as well. It's only going to be the crossal together with this. Oh, it does seem like it's going to be the cross together with Intel over here. Dragonite trying to put a little bit of pressure, but unfortunately the serve ride coming on from that will not be able to actually connect in time to actually secure that Reggie for the side of eArena. Meanwhile, the top lane, things are looking quite a party over here on their side of eArena from Thailand as they're putting a little bit of pressure on the top goalpost. Meanwhile, it's going to be Blastoise together. Intel were not able to stop this assault coming on from their opponents trying to destroy the goalposts.
Yeah, good thing they actually broke that too, because the Dragonite was considering going through the hyperspace hole just then. So great stuff here from eArena, but I will say they are behind in levels. They do only have a level advantage on that Dodrio and maybe that Glaceon, but the rest of the team is trailing True Gravity. I hope this team is keeping up with their macro at some point. They got to think about things. I have to say, by the way, we've got Stealth Rock coming in for that Crustle. That was definitely a bit of a surprise as Inteleon knocks out that Dodrio, and now we're going to be seeing a big push coming in from True Gravity, wanting to break that goal zone. It's just the Glaceon and the Slowbro. They catch out the Glaceon, just walks out of there, out of range. No snipe shots for you. but the goal zone is broken.
Well,
Mission successful.
Quite a commitment over there, but quite unfortunate they were not able to actually catch that Glaceon on the back line as well. They did try to actually trap him, but he was still able to actually make an escape. Over here, of course, this charge coming up from Dodrio as well. They managed to actually secure the intel coming up from the back line as well. They believe that this Blastoise is being sandwiched in between 3 Pokemon from the side of eArena. He will not be making his escape in any way. That's going to be a 2 Pokemon down on the side of Team 2 Gravity here on the Wild Pokemon area. A little bit of overextension, I would say.
Yeah, a bit scrappy. I'm actually quite surprised that they decided to go for the 2-man rotation. Glaceon spotted them out for ages, so the team had plenty of time to come in for that rotation. Like, yes, Glaceon for Inteleon, but Blastoise ended up going down too. They have to be very mindful of some of these rotations. If you want to slow somebody down, if you want to prevent their progression, you also need to be pretty careful about not giving away resources to the enemy, because it's a give or take relationship here.
Exactly.
So you can't just go for one.
And they literally capped the Inteleon first. And back then, when Blastoise turned around, wait, my Inteleon's gone. So I'm like, too deep. They were expecting that, hey, probably Blastoise is going to be, the front line for all this. But it's okay. But coming out once again, it's going to be Team 2 Gravity securing the Reggie at the bottom lane for a second time over here. But we do see some rotations happening here coming up from the side of eArena, trying to clear out this Eltaler family on the bottom lane. And of course, rotations together with assistance from the Hooper. Inteleon managed to snipe off that Slowbro from all the way downtown and going for a little bit chase. Meanwhile, on the back end, Marka trying to do a little bit Duncan on this Dragonite. Probably a little bit too much to chew. Commits with the Unite as well and will be cleared out instead.
Unfortunate for Mark God, he's trying to go for these cheeky little pickoffs on his Buzzball, but he's just fallen behind in levels that he's just not threatening unless he catches someone like the Hooper or the Inteleon, which is going to be quite difficult to get those two. Oh my gosh, the Dodrio gets caught! Oh, runs into both defenders on True Gravity. Great coordination to lock him down, because that's also a level 13 Pokemon feasting on all that experience. But speaking of experience, I think I've been seeing this all game. True Gravity have really done a fantastic job in making sure that they've kept up their macro, getting all their experience, preparing for that late game. eArena, they have focused so much on aggression in the early game that they have started to fall behind in those levels. Very early on, we were looking at 1 to 2 level differences between these two teams.
I think that's what they're expected to do, with the kind of draft they actually have.
Sure, but now it's feeling very top-heavy for eArena. They're giving all of the experience to their cores, and they're sort of letting their support starve. And especially during the last 2 minutes, you kind of want to make sure that your supports are also getting the bonuses for their moves, right? So you can't just sort of leave them at level 10 unless that's going to be the levels that they need. Most of them need level 11, some of them level 12 to go into full function mode. So maybe for eArena, the play here is that we're going to focus on our cores. They're going to start this fight here, trying to go for that KO. This Crustle is tanky. He's one of the tankiest Pokemon in the game, and they will get it, thankfully unpunished. And True Gravity are just going to back out instead. Yeah,
but all those experience is still insufficient to actually bring that Clefable together with the Slowbro up into level 11, at least at this point in the game, so they can actually have a really nice entry into that Rayquaza attempt later on as well. And this time, after getting themselves with that Crustle, they will also get themselves with Hooper as well, committing Unite over here, coming from Inteleon as well. They sniped off on that Buzzwole, going for chase together with the Hydro Typhoon as well, committing on the top side. We do see this Dragonite going off on the chase, and unfortunately the damage up was still insufficient to actually clear him out as well, and the chase still continues here, blocking out on the Glaceon's path from escaping. Does not have any form of escape on his own at this current moment. And look at this, Danny. Team True Gravity looking fresh while still 13 seconds on the clock here for the side of eArena's Glaceon.
Melon pulling off some fantastic rock teams for the team. Triple Trample coming in though, but it looks like Dodrio may have been caught trying to go for that Inteleon in the back lines, and he will actually get him. Inteleon is gone for True Gravity, trying to go for another one. Dragonite's been picked off as well. eArena turning things around, even though True Gravity had a fantastic fight leading up to the 2-minute mark. They've used a lot of their Unites already.
Yeah, the only ones available right now is going to be that Dragonite. The only one that can actually rely on the Unite move, and the opponent themselves, they are having a 4v5 situation current moment. It's who's going to be getting the skirt here? It is going to be
True
in the hands
Gravity!
of True Gravity. They do have the buff at this current moment, and they are currently leading into some points, and this could be a huge opportunity for them to actually dunk it in some points. Meanwhile, Team eArena, they're struggling at the current moment. They need to find an opening for them to actually do some scoring of their own. And while all this is happening here at the bottom lane and the top lane as well, we do see the Hooper being a little bit cheeky, decides to actually go back to the Pokemon Center. Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, they managed to secure on the Inteleon, going on for more. This time, going to be in our front lines, going to be Blastoise, grab out of the berry, chasing on with more. Moonlight there, Ricky Philpok on the back end. Now all the surf ride from the Blastoise, but it's still not enough damage to clear out on the Buzzwole.
Typhoon connecting onto 3. Is this going to be enough? They will get the knockout onto Mark God. Buzzwole is gone. And even though they have the Clefable, the healing is just not enough from Nodizaz is doing his best, but Glaceon gets set back to base by a big Hydro Pump, and True Gravity, in true Gravity fashion, managed to win the game after sniping eArena's Rayquaza and defending their goal zones with their point lead.
No goals, no points being scored after that Rayquaza gets on number. Just solid defense coming on from Team True Gravity over here in this game. Number 1, Danny, that was insane. And of course, do want to highlight that if you guys pay close attention to the Rayquaza attack, even before Rayquaza actually appears on the map itself, we do believe that teamfight has begun. They've already committed the Unite, starting.
Go back and watch that. The Metagross actually won in that matchup, I believe. But I'm not sure if I was convinced after watching that game. Like, it was very clear that there were some weaknesses in Metagross that people haven't been able to iron out, or fundamentally it could be wrong with the Pokemon. We kind of don't know at this point. So again, all eyes on True Gravity and this Metagross. Let's see what they're going to be able to pull off with this, because right now Hooper's trying to apply some pressure. Eject button gets committed by both sides though, and Cupfu's saying, give me the experience.
Oh
Thanks.
yeah, he's going to be getting it for sure, having mano-a-mano encounters together with the Hooper, and he's going to be getting the much better outcome from that trade-off. Meanwhile, here at the top lane, of course, we do see both sides try to do a little bit of micro scoring for the end. Meanwhile, Dragonair is already here at the top lane, so to connect a little bit more, but managed to get the shields within the goalpost and grabs himself with a berry to do a little bit of recovery. Charging up here is going to be Lucario, but instead it's going to be doing some scoring here in front of the eyes, but unfortunately, Chansey gets picked up as well, and Gifu tries to make an escape here behind the second goalpost on their side for Team True Gravity.
Oh, the wild Pokemon got stolen away, so neither Cubfu nor Beldum were able to get any of their evolutions off. That is so unfortunate. They do finally evolve their Urshifu. It's going to be the dark variant this game yet again, so lots of secure ability and also possibly threatening some of these squishier Pokemon with that Unite and Throat Chop. Wicked Blow always going to be super important, although we are seeing some aggression coming in here from eArena, wanting to pressure these very weak Pokemon on the side of True Gravity, because True Gravity, Beldum's not going to do anything for you, and a Dark Urshifu by himself, he's not that threatening in a 3-man jungle invade.
Yeah, and this is not going to be the run that he's actually looking for. In the meantime as well, it's going to be slow roll between 4 Pokemon from the side of eArena, and of course the outcome is definitely expected over here as he gets picked off in the hands of eArena. Meanwhile, a little bit opening for this Urshifu currently being the only Pokemon, I wouldn't say the only, it's together with the Espen, I would say, being online at the current moment, is not able to actually do much until the other remaining team members from Team True Gravity to actually come back and also do a little bit something. And quite unfortunate for him, gets picked off in the hands of this level 7 Lucario at the top lane by eArena.
I think it might have been a tag team with Inteleon as well, just a snipe shot, softens him up and lets Lucario finish things off. eArena are playing incredibly aggressive, much more successful than last game. Last game it was very hit or miss, but now hit or miss, but the fact that they're capitalizing on this weak point of eArena, of True Gravity, this is a really great game where they can apply this pressure. They just got to keep things up, keep those levels up, suppress those lanes, and make True Gravity not feel safe in their central lanes. And they're going to continue with the push here. Lucario just being a nuisance, Eject also being committed, tried to catch with the Throat Chop, but Espeon using its own Eject button and finishing with the stored power. So no more pressure coming in from Lucario, a bit of fresh air, and in fact a team rotation in that top lane gets rid of the Inteleon, who just stuck around for 1 second too long.
Oh, we're being served not some action here. Meanwhile, commits with the Unite as well, and Urshifu's going to be the one getting the last hit in with the Reggie, and of course quite a little bit too close over here. They managed to actually make an escape with assistance coming on from Hooper, but gets rated off at one point in his commitment. Would hammer in the face, hitting up on 3.
Oh, the Hyper
all 3 members, it's going to be losing out. All 3 members come from Team True Gravity here at the top lane, gets cleared out by the team members of eArena.
Oh, what a setup coming in from that. Trevenant, Dragonite just reeling, backing up for the team. Trevenant came in, Noddy's setting up with a fantastic Woodhammer and a multi-man Hyper Beam follow-up, deleting True Gravity. So unfortunate. It looked like it was going to be a successful push, and because of that, they take the buff from the Red Eyes as well as that experience, and it looks like the aggression will continue for eArena in that bottom lane, wanting to get rid of that tower, that tier 1 goal zone from True Gravity. The team is coming, but they're going to be a little bit late. The Metagross is not going to come in time, actually being chased away by that Trevenant. eArena, they just get away with all these objectives.
Yeah, but Team True Gravity, they do have the Mega here at this point into the game itself, but for the first 4 minutes of the game, it has been eArena's game. They have been dominating and snowballing as much as they can here in this game, making no mistakes. I would say very minimal mistakes so far, but is this the opportunity for Team True Gravity to actually shine? Is it their opportunity to actually come back for themselves? Meanwhile, they do an evasion here at the bottom goalpost, catch themselves with Intello. That's going to be a huge win for themselves. And this time, a bit of above from Hooper, coming off from the backline as well. They do have assistance, getting it left as well. Dragonite tries to make an escape. Meanwhile, this DC Mark God pushing forward, clear around 3 of the Pokemons coming from Team True Gravity with no trade-offs from their end here from Team eArena. And they're not done yet. It seems that Zaxel trying to make an escape here, but leech off its life, gets a little bit of shields here from the goalposts.
Again, we're just seeing these big pushes coming in from True Gravity, but they're just not getting the results that they're looking for, unfortunately. I think at this point, you might just have to sit back and relax a little bit. Just say, guys, we need to continue to level up. We are definitely a more late game oriented lineup because we need to be in their face. We need to be as big as possible, especially when you're going up against something such as that Inteleon. The snipe shots are going to cause us so much grief. So sit back, get your experience. Don't get knocked out. Don't let eArena assert control on that map, because that's what's happening right now. They're invading the central area, and because of this, True Gravity are just stuck in their lanes.
Yep, don't play into their hand, don't play the way they want it. Throwing bodies over here is going to be the slow but unfortunately they immediately got themselves with Espeon, which is going to be one of the main Pokemons here from the side.
Dragonite!
And of course chasing out, running it down. Of course, not going to be allowing this guy to actually make an escape. Intello gets picked off here in the hands of Team True Gravity, going up for more chases over here on the top end. Meanwhile, Registeel has appeared, and Lucario, what was happening? They managed to grab himself on that Blissey, making it 4 seconds here back in the Pokemon Center. Espeon gets himself with a counter here on the Lucario from the side of eArena.
They're still fighting in that bottom lane as well. Dragonite wanting to apply some pressure with that Hooper, maybe steal away that Registeel. They can with the Hyper Beam, but the Wicked Blow. Oh, they've actually managed to get it there with the Wicked Blow. So thankfully for True Gravity, they keep their objective, but they did lose both Pokemon in that fight. If eArena got that buff, it would have been a big mega loss, but I think for True Gravity, just take whatever you can get. Zesh, although, he got the KO! Snipe shot, Jukes can't get it, just a tad too slow on that Espeon.
Oh man, I mean the Jukes was just good enough at that point in time itself, but of course that snipe shot coming from Intello secures that takedown upon an Espeon. But that bottom lane encounter, Danny, I believe that is a small win that we're looking for. They were scavenging around for something over here because they've been using a little bit too much here in this game number 2, and we do hope that will be enough to get that back up on their feet here. But it does seem that if we look at the map control coming out from eArena, they definitely have a more dominant stance here in this game, and we're just moments away before Rayquaza actually appears here at the Thea Skyrwinds in the central area, and everybody's raring to go, getting in positions. It may look like Team eArena is actually doing exceptionally well here in this game, but if you look at levels, we have 3 Pokemons here on side of Team True Gravity. We have the Metagross, we have the Urshifu together with Espeon at level 13, whereas eArena, they only have Lucario to offer at level 13 at this current moment.
It's the same thing as last game. So again, True Gravity, you have to give them props of being able to keep up in that macro game. They're ensuring that they're getting those key levels on their key Pokemon. They know that Espeon, Metagross, and that Urshifu will play major roles in being able to get those knockouts. And in particular, for the Metagross, he needs to be big enough to be able to set up and not get deleted in these immediate fights. He's going to try and look for his Unite move, but the question is it going to connect on the person that he wants it to connect on? Dragonite still in that top lane, Psychic still being used, Bliss Assist as well. lots of health being drained on that Trevenant Unites as well. He manages to get the heal back up. Lucario going down, but Urshifu is also taken down on the side of True Gravity. It's a 1-to-1 trade so far, but a lot of Unites have already been committed by both sides. The only Unite left is actually on that Urshifu because he was the first Pokemon KO'd.
Yeah, he was not able to actually utilize Pokemon himself. So basically, in this next encounter in between these two amazing teams, eArena, Team True Gravity, he's going to be the only one with the Unite. And of course, it is going to be defense from Team eArena and offense from Team True Gravity. They need to poke this Rayquaza. This could be the option for them to actually snap it for themselves and actually go in for a little bit of scoring to make it a win for them.
Dragonite, got to be so careful being pursued by two Pokemon.
But he's luring 3 Pokemons away from Team True Gravity all the way to top side.
He might be luring them away, and eArena looking to go for some backcaps, but because of this, 2 Pokemon are here. Is it time to rip for True Gravity? It looks like there is. No one is here for eArena. They're just going to go. They're just going to go for a race. But can they afford to race? Dragonite has been knocked out. If you're eArena, you've got to go on defense. They're scoring in the base here, but True Gravity, they're starting to score 277 to 595. If Pokemon get knocked out, they're going to drop points as well. Nodizia, be careful of those buffs. It's an attack buff as well as a score shield for True Gravity. Pokemon are going down. Points are on the floor. Can they score those points? 25 points, a 100-point dunk from that Slowbro. 595 to 487.
108 more to go over here. Do they have the points right now to actually go for even scoring? They don't have enough, Danny. 90+7. They need at least 54 points here in hand to make an equalizer. And I believe that time is not on their side. And even the points are also not in their grasp. So, of course, ladies and gentlemen, in a few short moments, we're going to be...
14 points were deployed, yeah. So I think that might have been it here. Oh, my goodness. What a play. The score will finally be calculated here, folks. But as you can see, eArena going to win the set with 595 points.
Great mathing. I mean, they must have, we would assume they did some calculations. Hey, I think we're okay. Let's just go for the scores. Let's let go of Rayquaza.
They have a Hooper.
Yeah, they have a Hooper.
Hooper enables them to do this. And they also had that Dragonite if they really needed to, but they really mathed it out.
They mathed it out, yeah. It's either that or they were just scrambling around. But it worked. It worked. The most important part is it worked for them, and eArena wins this game.
Zorro. I actually think I'm leaning towards True Gravity for this game.
Yeah.
Even though eArena has the signature duo.
I mean, Team True Gravity has that Clefable support as well. So if you do look at a 5v5 encounter, Clefable is going to be very, very crucial in the presence. It's not going to be so easy to actually, even if Mark-Gon actually goes on for the Buzzwole as well, he could sustain a little bit. He's durable to a certain level, but with the assistance coming on from the Clefable, can I sustain even better? And plus, you also have a Mammoth just in case. On the back line, you also have this Glaceon to provide assistance, and Zaxel with high burst damage from that Solar Blade as well. But anyways, guys, we will see what the outcome will be. This is game number 3, the deciding match here for this lower bracket. Round 1, game number 2. They say match number 2 of the day here between True Gravity versus eArena. One of them will continue the run here in the lower bracket, while the other will stop their journey here in the competition for finals. Danny, the game has begun.
Game has begun, and both of our junglers, we've got one up top, Mark-God sitting in the top lane, and also Glaceon's going to be up top, just going for a bit of a combo there onto all of the Swablues to try and lock them in for his team. He didn't really get too many of them, unfortunately, so the majority of them going into True Gravity's pocket, I believe. Got to be super happy with that one, but hang on a minute. Maybe threatening the Glaceon here, even Mew showing his face, forcing Vulcan to be nearby just in case Akul runs into quite a number of issues. But Sunzage, because he revealed himself, look at this, just getting punished by the rotation from True Gravity.
But that creates an opportunity for the Zoroark to actually make an escape together with the Comfey. I guess if any one of them gets traded off, it's better for it to be the Mew rather than the Zoroark here. Of course, this gives a little bit of spacing for the Squirtle to become a War Turtle at the top line, as he needs that level to actually get himself at level 7 to become a Blastoise. And of course, we do have more and more rotations here coming on from the side of eArena at the central area, and I believe that Zoroark should be the ones clearing most of them. He says he got himself with 24 at this current moment.
Mark actually got most of them, so he's going to be happy with that mid-lane engagement. But speaking of levels, though, he's actually tied in levels with that Buzzwole, because Buzzwell's had a free time up here. Like, Duck has had a free lane, and I'm a little bit worried about this because for eArena to let a Buzzwell have a free lane up against the War Turtle, sure, War Turtle's not being that pressured.
It's not like he can actually, put any form of pressure to a Buzzwell.
But Buzzwell can absolutely threaten a Zoro if he gets his hands anywhere near him, so you have to be super careful. Clefable is here as well, just going to go in the opposite direction. Vulcan trying to draw them away from his teammate. Here we go. Buzzwell's still there, still trying to take those wild Pokemon.
Both of them misses each other.
Okay, Duck, he does manage to get the throw there, and they actually managed to catch out the Zoroark and the Comfey. This was the thing I was worried about, Flavor. I said from the get-go, there are a lot of options for True Gravity to catch out a Zoro, and eArena just did not respect it.
I think that he didn't actually have a plan at hand because he was just running out together with the Comfey, and even with the Blastoise over there, there's not enough cover for him. Meanwhile, he didn't anticipate there's going to be a two-man rotation to the top lane, making it a 4v2 situation, or should I say 4v3 if we consider together with the Comfey, put him at a huge advantage, and with the catching ability you highlighted as well. It was an expected outcome, or should I say the worst possible scenario outcome for him to actually happen, especially when you're running mid and you're getting caught off by someone who's actually plays top. That is going to be a devastating loss for him.
This is a very bizarre style coming out from eArena because these first two games they played hyper aggressive, and now they are playing a much more passive game against True Gravity, and you picked a Zoro Comfey. The whole reason you picked this duo is that you want to pop off. You want to get in there, you want to just pop Pokemon, and that's it. But looking at the comparison, you're losing the level game, and you're up against a composition where you only have two Pokemon that you can reliably KO from 100 to 0. So what is Mark God's role here? Is he simply here to backcap? Is he just trying to keep up in levels? What is the objective for the Zoro? Because he's just going to continue to fall behind unless they find an opening and they can somehow punish True Gravity.
He's trying to go for the Leafeon instead, but
it's a
Cabaret has
5-on-5.
arrived. Buzzwell has arrived here from the top lane, going up to the central area to provide a little assistance. Zoroark is not finding the opening that he wants here in this game, and he is in fear of being a mid lane, or should I say wild Pokemon era Pokemon at this current moment. He is in fear of this Buzzwell, who is a top laner Pokemon. So
not just that, even Akul on the Glaceon, if he locks onto you...
Exactly. And we haven't seen him for a while. It's like, hey.
Well, he doesn't need to. I mean, he's just free farming. Again, like, look at the level difference. You've got two level 11s and a 10 on the side of True Gravity. And Zoro has only just hit level 10 on the side of eArena. The macro game on eArena is just not happening. And if the game is going to continue like this, if a fight doesn't break out, if eArena doesn't win a major engagement anytime soon, they're just going to continue to fall further and further behind. And in the late game scenario, True Gravity, they've got a well-rounded comp. They've got Pokemon that can frontline. They've got their damage dealers in the back as well. They have somebody that's going to be able to provide those heals. They do have the Emerald 2-step. It does not get the KO onto that Blastoise. They do finally pop that Hydro Typhoon, but everyone just leaves. They don't care at all. So there's no more counter initiation. True Gravity say this is time to go. We get the Blastoise. We want the Lapras as well. And we have the Mammoth trying to push him back. They don't quite get him, throws him back, and they will finally get both of the defenders. Took a while for Lapras. Zoro, in the meantime, he ran up top lane to get those points scored. But that's it. You don't really get anything else out of this team fight.
I believe that's not what you expect from Zoroark in any way, especially when you have a Comfey latch on for you. The Comfey is like following you, like, we need to do something.
Ethan might even get the Steel Solar Blade. Doesn't get it. Perfect timing.
Okay, so at least he can actually manage to secure the Reggie here at the top lane. But while all this is happening, Team True Gravity is widening up the gap even more for their side at this current moment. And of course, we do see the Glaceon there securing this Regirock for the team, which means that they have additional defense as well as special defense here for the game. This is not the eArena that we saw earlier, where they're putting on the pressure where they needed to. I'm not sure whether you want to highlight this as...
I think
Zoroark at this point, it was like, unfortunately, he was not able to actually put the aggression early game. Therefore, right now he's stuck.
He is stuck. It's just such a difficult game for him to be able to really execute anything. Gonna try and go on top of the Clefable. Vulcan will finally go down, but it did require 4 Pokemon to fully execute. But look at that though, Mark got half health already eliminated with a Solar Blade, trying to find that opening. The team is grouping up. They do have a Hydro Typhoon, but no Lapras Express. So if anything happens and that Typhoon misses, things can go awry for the squad. But eArena playing it safe, going to go back, farm some more of those wild Pokemon, get that that experience and those levels and hopefully turn things around. It looks like it's going to have to be that late game comeback for the team from Thailand.
Yeah, and this is not something that they want to play with, because I think in terms of point of entries, it's not like they have anything great other than relying on the Blastoise with the Hydro Typhoon. Lapras Express, not really, I would say. Probably you can play around together with Comfy's Unite at the same time together with the Mew, but I believe that Team True Gravity has more to offer. They have huge openings here coming from Mamoswine. They also have the Glaceon together with the Clefable. So this is going to be a very tough one. 10 seconds before Rayquaza actually appears over here. This is an all-in or nothing here for the side of eArena. There's no way they're going to do any form of backcap to any form of scoring. It has to be here. It has to be done here at the Rayquaza pit, Danny.
Yeah, just got to watch Melon. Melon's going to play a big role for the team with those initiations on that Mamoswine. Going to be healed up by the Clefable as well, paired up with Vulcan. So, eArena, what is the game plan here? Leafeon is in that bottom lane protecting that top goal zone. Glaceon is up in the top lane protecting the goal zone. So no open goal zones for eArena to get those sneaky scores. It might have to come down to the Rayquaza or just hoping that the Leafeon abandons the lane. Coming in from the bottom side of the bush, they managed to catch out that Blastoise 3-man Typhoon. Team's coming in. Can they finish them off before the rest of the evolutions come in? They do get one so far, and it's going to be the support. So no more Moonlight, but here comes the Leafeon wanting to delete the Blastoise. Emerald two-step committed. It's 1-1 so far. Support for Defender, but it's not over as of yet. They're still looking to fight. Very low on that Buzzwole. Actually going to teleport home and go back for a base heal. No, Duck is sticking around. He wants to fight. He wants Mark God. Can he get him? Solar Blade being charged up, wanting to connect. They will finally come in with Melon on that Mamoswine. They don't actually get them with the connection on those basic attacks. They do freeze that Lapras. Lapras is down. One of the defenders are gone. Blastoise is coming back, but there's no frontliner, and it's going to go towards the True Gravity. It's going to be the Rayquaza's shield. Oh my goodness, that was a very long fight, but eArena, they just couldn't find that opening. They couldn't break them apart. They couldn't force those premature unites. True Gravity gonna continue to represent India in the Pokemon Unite Asia Champions League 2024.
Yeah, they had a great idea how they approached that Rayquaza pit, because they knew that at that point, the moment they cleared out at least 2 of the Pokemons on the side of Team eArena, they didn't have to pay attention to Rayquaza. Even if eArena does sector Rayquaza, they were actually low in HP. They had no ability to actually do any form of scoring. If they catch out yet another one, even if they had double 100 points being scored, it will not be enough to actually overtake what Team True Gravity has offered here for this game number 3. Now, here you have, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the series. Your champions here from the India Regional Qualifiers. Team True Gravity making a win in this best of 3 series, 2-1 up against their opponents, Team eArena, the champions from the Thailand Urban Qualifiers.
Oh man, it's so sad to see eArena dropping out of the competition. I mean, they did the very best that they could have, and they even picked their iconic Pokemon in that final matchup. It just wasn't enough. The stars didn't align. They just did not find that opening. Props to Team True Gravity. I feel like their positioning when these team fights happened, they never spread far apart enough for Mark God to get on top of somebody, but they never stuck around so close together that there was going to be a